This is Audi's new small electric SUV. It sits between the Q3 and Q5 in Audi's increasingly complex range of SUVs, 10 centimeters longer than the Q3, 4 centimeters shorter than the Q5, a smidge taller and wider, but with a smaller boot, thanks to its pesky batteries. It's also £10,000 more expensive thanks to its pesky batteries, so Audi needs to put some effort in to make the Q4 E-Tron feel a bit more special. A sleeker sportback version of the car with a more sloping roof and a jaunty hatchback is available to order now, with delivery starting later this year. For a slight premium you can get slightly reduced practicality. Funny how that works. That's the other way to look at the Q4 E-Tron. It shares its undercrackers with the rest of its Volkswagen family, and it's built on the MEB electric platform that has been deployed across the company. Essentially it is an Audi-skin version of the Audi Q4, along with Škoda's new Enyaq, and it's even built on the same production line as the VW in Zwickau. They really are a close family. But Volkswagen's electric smarts combined with Audi's interior panache. Color us interested. There are 3 basic starting models to choose from, the 35, 40 and 50 badge models. The 35 E-Tron comes with a 52 kWh battery, 208 mile WLTP range and a 168 brake horsepower motor. The 40 E-Tron gets a 77 kWh battery, 316 mile WLTP range and a 201 brake horsepower motor, while the 50 E-Tron Quattro has the same battery setup as the 40 but with an extra front motor to give the car 4-wheel drive, boosting available power to 295 brake horsepower but reducing the official range to 298 miles. Those cars can then be chosen in 4 trims: Sport, S-Line, Edition 1 and Vorsprung. Rapid charging comes as standard on the Q4 E-Tron, so if you're in a rush, the batteries charge up to 100 kilowatts DC with the 52 kWh option and up to 125 kilowatts with the 77 kWh version. The latter will get you from 5% charge to 80% in 38 minutes, adding 80 miles of range in 10 minutes of charging. Just enough time to grab a coffee and steel yourself for the next part of your journey. Perhaps not the car's looks, the Q4 is fairly handsome and well proportioned, but from the side you'd be hard-pressed to recognize it as an Audi. There are clear benefits to the disciplined platform sharing that the Volkswagen Group has introduced, with the downside being that it's clearly tough sometimes for the different brands' designers to carve out a unique identity. Still, they've done a marvelous job on the inside of the Q4 E-Tron, with an angular interior that showcases the solid quality that we've come to expect from Ingolstadt. What physical buttons are there all move with a pleasing tactility, and the driving experience communicates a sense of solidity. The pedals are all well weighted and the steering is firm and accurate. Audi's done a good job too of disguising the car's heft, with a well-damped ride that mostly smooths out the road's imperfections. We don't like to go on about these things for the sake of it, but with a company as relentlessly competent as the Volkswagen Group, it's very surprising when it wanders as astray as the carmaker has with its latest generation of interior electrics. Audi has managed to avoid the worst of VW's electronic excesses, retaining a smattering of useful buttons in the cabin, but the infotainment is still a touch laggy, the phone connection occasionally unreliable and the whole thing randomly prone to freezing. In this bright new age of over-the-air updates it'll probably be sorted soon enough, but such imperfections are a measure of how reliable the company has always been. The Q4 E-Tron truly heralds the next generation of electric vehicles, not because of any new technology or space-age looks, but rather in its overwhelming ordinariness. Sounds like we're damning with faint praise, but this is a genuinely interesting moment. Audi thinks that it'll shift 20,000 of these in its first full year on sale, 2022, catapulting it to second place in the company sales charts behind the A3. This is the moment that the EV reaches the mainstream. The Q4 E-Tron's success will come because it is relentlessly capable, easy to live with as a car full stop. If you're making the switch to electric, it's a great place to start, a nifty blend of EV glamour and SUV practicality. The small SUV is the best blend of big enough to squeeze in a load of batteries and small enough to be manageable, and gingerly sidesteps the inherent tension in going electric to try and save the planet but doing it in a ginormous SUV. There's enough range here too that you can forget about the driving and cut loose a little. The Q4 E-Tron is the perfect car for those punctual adopters who have watched others try things out. You'll probably still get on better with it if you're able to charge at home, but the UK infrastructure is improving all the time. It's definitely the moment to consider the switch. Audi has never quite been able to decide whether it's supposed to build racy cars or smooth and refined ones. It usually manages the balance quite well, and electric powertrains offer the ideal opportunity to blend those traits, thanks to the instant slug of torque that e-motors offer. So the Q4 E-Tron offers a smooth ride. It's well damped, but can get occasionally fussy as you drive over small ridges and other bumps, delivering a short sharp shock into the cabin, but it can hustle too, staying flat and clinging grimly on thanks to the low down weight of the batteries. The Q4 E-Tron is not a classic driver's car, certainly more at home cruising than attacking B-roads, but the steering is firmly weighted and accurate, lightening up the further up the drive select modes you get towards comfort. The cabin is very quiet on the move, even the wipers are silent when it rains, and outside noise has been impressively muted. The problem with that level of noise reduction is that it shines a spotlight on squeaks and grunts from the rest of the car over bumps or round corners, but this Audi is properly screwed together. It's silent enough to be awkward, so remember your conversational cue cards. One of the most useful features on the move is reg and braking, controllable through flappy paddles behind the steering wheel.